Okay, great. So welcome to this session on authentic activities. This session is coming to you through the Dell Texas Learning Network, and it's a partnership between Dell Technologies, ALP, and your district. Today's session is being done on June the 10th. Just a little bit about advanced learning partnerships. That's where I am coming to you through. The whole concept here is that Texas is pooling its resources so that lots of different districts can come together to be able to take advantage of the remote professional development. So through advanced learning partnerships, we feel that it's important that you understand what our values are. And first of all, it's all about working on things together and perpetuating trust, valuing people, realizing opportunity, and then serving with gratitude. And so we're also trying to build PLNs, or professional learning networks. And believe it or not, Twitter is the best place to be for education as long as you block out all of the nonsense. So if you are using Twitter, if you use any of these ideas, or if you find it helpful, go ahead and tweet it out, and you can use these hashtags. Hashtag DellTLN, ALP Learn, at ALP, and then my handle is at Cultivate Learn. So if you do use any of this, I'd love to see, I'd love to have the opportunity to see it. You can also connect with me at Cultivate Learn if you have any follow-up questions, okay? All right, so as I told you, we are recording this for anybody who couldn't make it and that would like to have been here. All right, so once again, our topic today is authentic activities, and this is me. I am your facilitator. My name is Eileen Fernandez Parker. You can reach me by email at eileen@cultivatingthelearning.com. My mobile phone is there, so you're better off texting me if you do that. Otherwise, your number will just go to spam. And if you do use Twitter, you can contact me at @cultivatelearn, and you can also hashtag ALP Learn. All right. So what we are going to be doing today is a little bit different. Most presentations use slideshows and slide decks to present the information, but I wanted to present in a different way. And this is a website that I built using Google Sites. So if you're not a Google district, you might not have access to this through your district, but you can surely create sites. If you have just a Gmail account, you have the same access, okay? If you do have Gmail in your district, then you can definitely use sites right away, okay? So we're gonna be talking about authentic, engaging work. And the idea, the concept parallels project-based learning. So I for sure am not doing a project-based learning training in 45 minutes. But what I would like to do is give you the opportunity to see some of the elements that need to be included, see the power that it has on kids, and then hopefully give you some time to start filling out a lesson worksheet that makes you think through all of the different parts of an authentic lesson. Okay, and I'm going to be sharing some authentic lessons that teachers that I coached did in their classrooms. Okay. All right, so I'm going to switch over to the website now. Wrong one. Okay, so here we are. So a lot of people think that project-based learning is the same as just giving projects, but it's not. Okay, it's almost like comparing a dessert to a main course. If you do projects at the end of your unit, then you're using projects more as a dessert. If the project itself is how the kids learn, they're learning through the project, then it's a main course and you're more on the side of project-based learning. Okay, so that's the first thing that you need to think about. So in the chat, if you would you let me know when you give projects, do you do them more at the end, or do you have the kids working through the project to learn? Okay, all right. So the reason I want to go through the why first, that it's important that, projects, the value of projects um, and doing learning through projects is that the kids are able to master core academic content, which of course is our first goal, right? But what we're also seeing is that business is telling us, and we're seeing it ourselves, right? That the kids who are graduating from high school don't have the 21st century skills that they need. So the communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity is almost non-existent as they go through high school. And I know that that is shocking. And for Rob, for you who do AV, it's probably not true in your class because your class is they have to create in your class, right? That's what their competencies are. But in so many of the core, we don't have that. So the kids, they need to think critically and solve problems. They need to work collaboratively and communicate and learn how to learn on their own. So I want to show you this short video. And first, let me just check to make sure that you hear the audio.
A picture of all of the families, but while they're seeing the picture.
Can you hear that audio? Just put a 1 in the chat if you can hear it. Okay, good. All right, then let me back this up. And this is a sample of a finance project in high school, but it could apply to any math lesson. It could apply to any lesson. It just has to do with how you line things up, okay? And I'm going to turn my volume up too. Oh, it's all the way up. Okay.
Today we get to meet our clients. This is Marquise Bryant. These are her 2 kids. She's a single parent. The finance project is the kids helping different families with their financial goals.
Hold on a second. I'm going to go straight to YouTube because it's not going into full screen view.
She wants help with college planning.
Okay, can you see it and can you hear it? Okay, all right, great. Back it up again.
These are her 2 kids. She's a single parent. The finance project is the kids helping different families with their financial goals. She wants help with college planning. I always love to think of an entry event as simply this. It's a way to capture the kid's heart so that their mind would follow. At a high school level, especially in my school, kids desire real world work experience. So my ability to introduce my projects as an entry event always hooks my kids. So the first thing we want to do is quickly remind ourselves what is our particular situation. What is the top things we need to remember about our families? So here's kind of some questions I always ask myself to make it easier for me to summarize. So like, what's the heart of it? What's the big deal that I need to just write down?
What do you see on your kids that are going to help them in the future?
Then for retirement, we got asked for the Browns, how much they have to save so far.
In the finance project, the kids are seeing a picture of all of the families, but while they're seeing the picture, they have what I call an executive summary, a very common company document that explains the background, explains the purpose, and major deadlines for them to follow along with me as far as what this client has come aboard and asked us to do. They want retirement, college, and mortgage reduction. Everybody, all of them have a budget in hand. They just don't know about the other auxiliary stuff. And so that always leads into a problem-solving process. And so they zoom in and figure out what is the heart of the things about the situation. Then we zoom out to the solution. What do they think is the biggest things that they need to do? And then we zoom back in and see what do we need in between. So I know I have to do this. I know I need to get here. What's the questions I have that bridges that gap? And so we wrap up with what are those questions and what do we need to do next?
You want to tell us a little?
All right, I'm going to stop it there. And in the chat, would you, or you can unmute yourself. What do you see as, what did you pick up from this video that you can apply in your own classroom? And just with that little bit, good, real world connections and examples. Kids always want that. Why do I need to know this, right? How does this apply to real life is what they want to know. And sometimes we don't do a real good job explaining that. We'll say things like, you need to know how to do this. It's an exercise in thinking. That doesn't really help kids, right? Or it just proves that you have a strong brain. Okay. All right. So this is what they call the gold standard of PBL. So these are the things that we need to be thinking about having in our projects. And remember, if you noticed, the teacher in the video said she likes to start with the project because it captures her kids' hearts. And that is so important because today, and I have 4 children of my own, and I use them as examples all the time. They could not be any more different from each other. The first loves learning. The last 3, they don't like learning. They just do what they're told and that's it. And so they want to know, am I finished? Not, have I done a good job? You know, so the first thing we need to give is a challenging problem or question, right? It should be something they have to dig into. It should be sustained inquiry. So not something that they could just do in one afternoon. It might take a whole week, or it could be 2 weeks, or it might be over a semester, right? It depends on the age of the kids and the project, et cetera. It's got to be authentic. So it has to have a real world context. There should be real world tasks and tools, and they should know that it's having some kind of an impact on the world or on some individual, right? Like the finance project, each group had a different family that the group was helping, okay? So they knew that they were gonna help this family save money because of the research that they were gonna do and the proposals they were gonna give, okay? And then down here, we've got student voice and choice also. So in that finance project, they might not have had that much voice and choice. The teacher told them, you know, this is the project because we're learning annuities. And so the voice and choice might come in different ways throughout the project. Reflection is super important because that's when and how we learn, right? What did I learn today? Let me think about it. How does it change my thinking, right? And then, was it important to me? All those types of questions are super important. And then critiquing and revising are also important. So it shouldn't be that they just turn in the project and that's the only time they ever hear anything. There should be formative feedback going along. And so there are formats that you can use that even second graders can do for giving feedback, okay? So think about when you're thinking about authentic learning, right? And if you want to go deeper, you can start researching PBL. But the PBL mindset is dimmer versus on-off switch. So the dimmer is that we might not be focusing on it as much this week, but it is still there. Whereas the project is on-off. Okay, the project's finished. We're never going to think about that again. Okay. All right, now down here at the bottom, I've got an authentic learning skills tracker that I developed, okay? So what I would like to do is, I am going to give you the link to this website so that you'll be able to add a tab and go to this website, and then you'll have access to all of the files that I'm gonna be clicking on, okay? So the idea here is that we're gonna use this tracker for today's training. So when you've clicked on this and you have it open, and you can open it by clicking in the top right-hand corner of the spreadsheet. There's like a little pop-out arrow. So when you click on that, the spreadsheet is going to open up for you. And once you have the spreadsheet open on another tab, so at this point, you're going to have 3 tabs. You're going to have your Zoom tab, the website tab, and now the spreadsheet tab, okay? And once you've got the spreadsheet open, go ahead and put a 1 in the chat box. And Rob, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm here. I'm trying to get into the spreadsheet.
Okay, great.
I'm at the website. Oh my God.
Okay, scroll down to the bottom of the website, the first page, and it's at the very bottom, the spreadsheet. And
It says I need access. I'm in the authentic learning skill tracker.
Yep.
And then there's a little gray box with a piece of paper with a frowny face and
Yeah, are you, it's open for, oh no, I do have it set wrong. I beg your pardon. Let me fix
okay.
that. Anyone with link? Okay. Refresh it and then try again.
Let me refresh it. There we go. Okay.
Okay, thank you. And Imelda, how about you? You probably, yeah, you have the same problem. Okay, refresh and then go ahead and try again. So the first thing I want you to know is if you like this tracker, to use it, all you have to do is go to File, Make a Copy. And if you are a Microsoft district, you can just convert it to Microsoft. It's not a problem. And if you do need Microsoft, you would go to File, and then you would go to Download, and then Microsoft Excel, so that you would have an Excel copy. But for now, we all want to be in this same one, okay? All right, so what I need you to do is claim a row. So Rob, you're either going to be 4 or 5, and Imelda, you'll be either 4 or 5. Just grab one, and if you already see a blue highlight in one of those boxes, then clearly somebody else is trying to claim that. So I see one of you is in. Let me hit refresh. Okay, Imelda, were you able to access?
I'm not able to enter anything.
You're not able to?
No.
All right, let me check.
Let me see. Oh, you know what? I need to open the spreadsheet. Sorry. There we go. Okay, there we go.
Okay, let me see here. Okay, hit refresh and try again. Okay, good. I see that the 2 of you are in there now from the top. And hit refresh. Try to see if you can click in cell A4 and A5 and put your job. So second grade and AV, and then put your name. And the easiest way to get through spreadsheets is by hitting the tab key, because that'll automatically move you to the next cell.
I'm not, I'm in A5 and it's not letting me put anything in it.
Oh, you are?
Well, I don't know who, whoever Anonymous Wombat is, that's 4.
Uh-huh.
And so I went into 5. I think because I'm a blue, mine's blue. I must be the armadillo, because the other person's a wombat. I mean, because it gives you an anonymous animal, I guess.
Right, it does, right, because your names are not in here specifically. Are you able to type in any of the cells?
No, I'm not. I'm just trying to type anything and nothing's going in it.
Nothing. And have you hit refresh?
Yes, but I'll do it again. Okay, I'm gonna go into 5A.
Okay.
No, I can't put anything in. I'm just putting any kind of text.
All right, I'm going to try to duplicate this sheet and see if it makes a difference on the next sheet. Can you see a second sheet that says copy of skills?
Do I need to refresh?
Yeah,
Yeah, probably.
it's at the bottom.
Oh, it's at the bottom.
Yes, at the bottom. See if you can
Oh, copy
type.
of skills. There we go. Got
Oh,
it.
This one letting
this
you
one
type?
works.
There it is. Okay.
Yes.
There it is. Okay.
Great. Okay, excellent. then I'm going to delete the skills one because it's given us problems. And we're just going to use copy of skills. Okay, good. Excellent. Sorry about that. Hiccups, technology hiccups, right? Okay, so the way that this tracker works is there's a little triangle in the top right-hand corner of each of the remaining cells. And when you click on the triangle, you can see there are 4 choices. It's a 1 through 4, just like a rubric. I could use some help. I just need more time. I did it and am proud, or I could teach peers. So I can open the tracker and choose an answer. Once you choose it, you're going to obviously be giving yourself a 3 or a 4. So select the drop down arrow in cell C4 or C5, and then grade yourself on knowing how to choose one of those 4 answers. Great, awesome. Okay, now column D is about verbalizing the difference between projects as a dessert versus an entree. Now, if this were a longer class period, and if we were in person, we would do turn and talk. But right now, I just want you to self-evaluate and give yourself a grade for whether or not you think you could do that right now. Excellent. Now, I went over the PBL gold standard criteria. There were 6 of them. They're on the website. So if you think about, I want you to think about a project you've done with your students, okay? And I'm going to jump back to the website. And if we scroll down and look at the PBL gold standard, we've got challenging problem or question. We've got sustained inquiry, authenticity, student voice and choice, reflection, and then critique and revision. And so in your head, if you can identify them, go ahead and grade yourself on how well you think you could do that. So normally in the classroom, the kids would actually have to turn something in, right? So
Yes.
I would say you got an 80% on this standard, so you're at you can go grade yourself, right? If they got a 50, but they say, you know what, I get it, I just need more time, then they would be able to give themselves a 2, okay? Which is, I just need more help. If they're completely lost, then they can say, oh, you know, I'm a 1. And what we're seeing teachers do then is using blended learning. They're able to say, okay, anybody in column E, if you're a 1 or a 2, I want you to meet me up here at the table. And this isn't just elementary school, this is high school as well, okay?
Right.
Our high school teachers are now doing stations too, so that they can meet the needs of those kids who are in need, right? And because PBL and authentic learning is a sustained project, then the kids who are okay know that they can just keep working, okay? So now F is, can you identify which of the gold standards are missing in your projects? So the first one is, I know what's there. And then clearly the second one would be process of elimination, what is missing? And then we have the dimmer on and off switch. So what I did in my training was I took all of the scaffolded steps that I want you to be able to do, and I listed them across the top. So it's keeping me on track, right? And it's keeping you on track. What's really great for the learner is that the learner can see that he is making progress, because sometimes kids don't realize they're learning when they are, okay? So in your authentic projects, sometimes it's very valuable to have these checkpoints. All right. So the column G is about the dimmer switch versus the on-off switch. You can grade yourself on that. How do you think that you understand that? And then we're going to jump to column H, which is about a Scraps authentic learning worksheet. Okay. And what we're going to be doing with column H is you are each going to get a Scraps worksheet, and then I'm going to ask you to get the share code and then put the link in the cell next to your name, right, for your row, okay? So we're gonna go back to the website. So go to the website that has the blue apple. And before we jump into the scraps, I wanna share with you some of the authentic learning activities that I was a part of. So if you're on, you can either be watching in Zoom or you can go through on your own tab. But we're on the authentic learning portion of the website now. And this first authentic learning project is a year-long project, and it's Culinary Arts. And instead of just cooking for themselves, this Chef Wheelis developed an on-site cafe that is open once a week, and it's for faculty to come, and they pay like $8, and the kids have to set up the menu in advance. They have social media, so they are always tweeting out and putting on Instagram and Facebook, you know, the meals that they are preparing, shots of food, you know, everything. They're learning how to run a restaurant, right? They have to wash their own clothes. They've got managers. And so this is a year-long project, and you can see they've got their menu up. The teachers are here, the washer and dryer, because the kids are running everything, okay? So it's super authentic. The next one was an English department project, and the teacher made this project up. And it was a UN, the General Assembly was giving out a grant that had to do with focusing on the quality of food and how it affects low-income residents on Earth. So you would think that that might have been more of a biology project, right? But it was in English class because she was grading them on their research skills, their citations, and their presentation, right? And how well they pitched their idea. So over on the right, where you can see the UN flag, there are 3 people, 3 adults sitting at a table, and I'm one of them. We juried those presentations. So the teacher did not grade the kids. We graded them, and she gave us the rubrics that we were supposed to be following. Having an outside adult in the room changes everything, okay? So if it's AV, right, having, you know, if Rob, if you were able to call somebody from like the local television station and see if they wanted to jury it, that would be so powerful, right? Or if you were able to maybe contact some nonprofits, because everything is about video now, right? You're setting your kids up to have amazing jobs. And why not start making those connections with some nonprofits maybe who might hire your kids later on? Or if you contact the nonprofit up front and say, I have these kids and we need a challenge. And then that person would call in and challenge your kids. So there's so much that goes on. So with the second grade for Imelda, for your little guys, it could be that they might be learning how to plant a garden, and that those flowers might be used to bring to some of the elderly in your community or children who are sick in the hospital, because you've got that human connection, okay? So this was all about, you know, the pitch, and we had outside people coming in. This was also the English department. The next one was about a book, and the kids read Paradise Lost, and then they put the characters on trial. So each of the kids became a character, and they also had a judge, and they had defense teams, and they had to, it was kind of role playing. But this ended up being year 1 of a 3-year project, because the teacher said, next year, I want to kick it up a notch. So the next year, what she did was she brought in a lawyer to train the kids on trial law and what are the do's and don'ts, what you absolutely cannot do in a courtroom, and things that you should be doing. And so then that lawyer was part of the jury when they put the kids on trial. So it was the same project, it just had more in it. The 3rd year was killer. This is a real judge who came in and juried the kids. And we said it just grew. When it moved into the media center, we had a 12-panel jury. So it was set up exactly like a courtroom would have been. And it was so authentic. It was phenomenal. The kids absolutely loved it. Okay. And I have to say, this teacher taught seniors. And so Rob, if you've taught seniors, you know that right before graduation, they are checked out. They're like, I'm graduating. I don't need anything, right?
Yes.
I have never seen seniors so enthralled and so engaged and involved. Like they were not missing anything for this class. So it was wonderful. Okay, and then here is one that that has to do with, it was Spanish, and this teacher always had her kids make a child's picture book in Spanish, and they used construction paper and pencils and markers and things. But when they got the iPads, then they decided that they wanted to go digital. And then we ended up doing a Google Hangout with some Spanish speaking children from across the district. And the kids created their books for those kids. And then they had a meeting with the kids afterward so that the kids could tell them what they liked about the book. When I talked to the students in this class, and the teacher's jaw dropped when I told her what this one young man said, because, I said to him, so, normally you would have just done this on paper. How did the way it was this year change things? And he said, because I knew that a little kid was going to be reading my book, it made all the difference in the world. Like I worked so hard on my book, and the teacher was like, wait, who said that? I can't believe he said that, So it's that human connection. So Imelda, for your kids, it could be that maybe they're making books for the kindergartners, right? And that they might even read them to the kindergartners. Or we've had elementary school kids who have made books and then gone into like nursing homes or assisted living homes or independent living. And of course, with the pandemic right now, we couldn't, but that'll be over soon. And the kids read to, the people who would be like their adopted grandparents, kind of. And it just changes everything, right? It just absolutely changes everything. Okay, so this last one was a science department, and it was an investigative research class. And this class created an herb garden for Chef Wheelis, and their herbs were being used in the weekly cafe. So it became a collaborative effort that only came to be because the teachers were like, wait a minute, you do this and I do this. How about if we work together? And so these kids down here in the science, they knew that what they were growing was important, because if they didn't grow them, then the cafe wasn't going to have the herbs that it needed. Okay. And they also, they because we're in South Carolina and we're near where a lot of the historic sites are, there are plantations that they were able to donate flowers to as well. Okay. So all of these projects have the human element where they're helping somebody, and they also have an outside element where authorities are coming in. Okay. Questions? Any questions so far?
None.
Okay. All right, so let's click over on the Scraps tab. And Scraps is an acronym. And so this worksheet on the right-hand side gives you an explanation of what you need, and it makes you think about each step and how you can include different things. So the first S is for standards. So of course we have to focus on, what standards do I need to cover? Then C is the challenge, and you have to give them a scenario. So they have to know, describe the people or describe the characters or that they're playing. It has to have a real world role or job, and emphasis on real world, right? It has to have an authentic audience, so not the teacher. So it could be other teachers in your building that will have a planning period and can come and be your jury. It could be the administration. Sometimes we're able to get the superintendent to come in, or other people at the district office. So you don't have to go, way far outside of your building, but you can also be looking at, if your school has a list of business partners, that is amazing PR to call a business partner and say, we would love to have you come in and jury our kids. They want to do this for you, right? And so that whole building relationships is wonderful. Then the P is for, is it going to be a final product that they have to create, or is it going to be a performance? So it could be like the presentation for the UN grant was a performance, right? But for Rob, yours would be a product that they have to create a video of some sort, right? And then Imelda, yours could be either. They might be creating something or they could be performing something. And then S is for specialists. And this is where we forget to do this. So there are colleges all over the nation. And now that we have all this technology, it is so easy to do a Google Meet or a Zoom or a Skype or a Teams meeting and have an outside specialist come into your room virtually, right? And so being able to have your kids come up with those questions, just like the finance teacher did in the video, the kids have to come up with questions that they needed answers to. And they can, of course, Google it, right? That's their first specialist, but it's so much nicer if it's a human being. So think about, who can we call in? Who are AV experts? Who is an expert who can talk to second graders about X, Y, and Z, okay? So a little bit farther down on this page, there are 3 worksheets altogether. So one is a detailed explanation, and then we have a worksheet for teacher and student to complete. So the students have to prove that they understand what their job is, okay? And then there's an example here of one that is already completed, okay? So let's click on the top one that says detailed explanation. And let's make sure that our editing rights haven't changed. And this actually is, each of you would need to make your own copy. Yes, so it's set for Can View. So all you need to do is go to File, make a copy, and then you should have your own copy. Is either of you a Microsoft district?
No, we're Google based.
Okay, great, perfect.
So are we.
Okay, excellent. So let me know when you're able to get into that, and then when you do File, make a copy.
Yeah, I got a copy.
Okay, great. And I see you're in, just so you know, you're anonymous Kiwi, Rob.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so what I'd like you to do in the last 5 minutes is start to fill this out. Think about what project you can do with your kids. And I know it's the end of the year now, right? So this would be for the beginning of next year. And these are also really good to do in that last month of school where it's testing and do you cover new things? Do you not cover new things? Everybody's shutting down. So these are some good things to do then as well. So think about what the project would be. And here are some example challenges with scenarios. Your husband or wife calls from his or her engineering company to report a problem and challenge the students to try to solve it as creatively as they can. And of course, you've already discussed this with the specialist calling in. The kids don't know that you planned the whole thing with them. But it doesn't matter. So the local Audubon Society does a Google Hangout to share a problem with bird species in the area. Students are challenged to research the birds and the issue and try to identify the problem. Now, even second graders can do this, right? But Imelda, you would have to pull the resources that they would need so that they wouldn't be lost, right?
Right.
And then there's a rise in teen loitering and crime reports. Have a local social worker or leader in the school challenge the students to solve this issue creatively yet realistically and make a proposal to the town or county council. So that's where the heat is on. And it's important that there is a little bit of heat. So for second graders, we might have them present to the PTO, right? Or if there's a school improvement committee or they might even go to a board meeting. You never know. But maybe there's something, and sometimes you can ask the kids, you know, is there anything bugging you about our school? And what can we do about it? And those are some really powerful things, because then, as especially for the content area, for like the self-contained classrooms, you can bring in math and science and social studies and English in one project, right? Depends on what the project is. Okay. So think about your challenge. And what I'd like you to do is, I would like you to grab that share link and share it in the authentic learning skills in column H. Then that way, and believe it or not, I check back into these things. That way we can look at one another's and see if we can get some ideas from your ideas, because there's nothing like building on somebody else's thoughts, right? And standing on the shoulders of other greatness. So think about the role that your students would take. Who is going to be your outside audience? What is the end goal? Are the kids creating something, or are they pitching an idea? And then who are some specialists who could actually help you out? So like Rob, I'm thinking I would be calling, you know, Live at 5 or whatever your local station is, right? But also, I might even have a connection with you at Google. I worked on one of the Google teams, and there's this awesome person who does all the video stuff. And I'm just wondering if, you know, if he would have something interesting to share. But like colleges too, right? Some of the tech colleges who've got the audio, the AV projects, and the 4-year colleges. So, and most of the time, all those professors are more than willing to do a quick, you know, 45-minute Zoom call with your kids.
Well, one project I've been trying to do is with the Spanish teacher, because we have a lot of students who are very bilingual.
Yep.
And to increase more, because we have a lot of students who take Spanish, but they're not really, I mean, they're just taking it. They're not really, I mean, they're not embrace it. So we were trying to think of doing a Spanish speaking newscast.
Yeah, fantastic.
That way we're working with the Spanish teacher, we're working with AV, we're increasing more, because the ones the students would be doing the ones that are very bilingual, to increase more the ones who are just kind of taking Spanish, because you know what I mean, to see where they can go with it. So
yes, you know. I could see you also doing welcome videos to the new freshmen and transfer students, right, in both English and Spanish. You could do a virtual tour of the school. There's so much.
Yeah, we had to do a lot of virtual stuff because of the pandemic for the oncoming freshmen. So we've done all that. We've done a lot of recently. We've done that through, we created a Google site for all that. We've done a lot of those kind of videos already.
Nice. That's awesome. That's awesome. And Imelda, how about with your little guys? What are some projects that you can see them doing? Go ahead.
This year, I know for history, we did kind of a Night at the Museum project. Of course, it was really difficult being online half the year with everything. But at the end of the year, we did do, it's called My Museum, and it's a historical figure, and bring that person to light. It crossed over into reading and reading. They had to, of course, do all the research with parent-teacher help. So this was both at home and at school. And they had to come up with facts and symbols to represent their person, you know, answer a series of questions. Why was this person important? What contributions to society did this person make? Or, you know, this, that, and the other. And then they had to write a report about them.
Right.
Create a poster. They could dress like them. They, you know, as much as they wanted to add, they were able to. And so it was a really, really fun project for them towards the end of the year, when we finally could have parents in school and things like that. It was really good.
Nice, nice. So have you ever thought of creating a slide presentation so that so that at the beginning, like on the first slide or second, you'd have a table of contents with all of the different historical figures. And then when you click on it, it would jump to each kid's individual slide, and they could even have multiple slides. And then sharing that with another school, and maybe having another school share theirs with you.
That would, yeah, that would be really, really good. We actually took this from our principal, who presented it to us as a project that his former school did. So yeah, to connect
Nice.
those two, that would have been good.
Nice, nice. And also, Rob, I'm thinking your kids have the skills that could help some of the elementary schools as well. So like if you feel like you've used up all of the things you could do at high school, maybe contact one of the local feeder schools, right?
Yes,
That would be that. And of course, they would love to have, the little kids love to have the big kids, you know, working with
yes.
them too. So that would be cool. All right. Well, our time is up. So any questions? Oh, wait, I have to give you you have to do an attendance thing. Let me get that. I'm going to stop recording now.